Hi, ladies. Welcome to Pathways to Fertility, a YouTube station dedicated to the women who are on the journey to conceive, especially dedicated to the women who are on the journey to improve their egg quality and their overall well-being and fertility. I am Samantha Jacobs. I'm a licensed acupuncturist in Connecticut and New York. And since I graduated in 2003, my practice has specialized in treating women and infertility. So today's topic is about the biodiversity of our egg quality. This is a fundamental key point of Chinese medicine. It's one of the reasons I went into Chinese medicine. And simply said, Chinese medicine doesn't think of us as like a box, and that we have to fit a box to be able to improve our well-being. Rather, we engage with the patient, observe, ask a lot of questions, and we have to be the investigators to help the patient get their health to a new perspective. And when we start pulling back all the layers that are going on in our body, we can start to help a woman improve her egg quality. Now, I think it's like if we're stopping to look at the analogy of a woman's fertility as being biodiverse, it allows us to pull away from a very limiting belief that our bodies are like a factory, that our fertility is like a factory. And that if we put widgets in one side of the factory, that somehow on the other end of the factory, what we want, the widget that we really want, will come out the other side. And that somehow in this box, this factory, the end result we're looking for is going to be made because we've forced some kind of product into the factory that will supposedly push out on the other end of the factory what we want. And I think that that is incredibly limiting when it comes to trying to improve our fertility. I spent 4 years studying with Randine Lewis. She wrote The Infertility Cure. She left such a big impression on me. One of the things that she instilled in us as students was that we as women, our fertility is a biodiverse environment. Now, Randine would use the analogy of a coral reef. I prefer a rainforest. And what we get when we start looking at those analogies of being biodiverse. So when we're thinking about the rainforest, right, from the canopy, the top of the trees, all the way down through the roots of the trees into the soil, there is this living ecosystem that interplays with each other. And one layer will rely on another layer, and they feed into each other. They have a dance with each other. And that if one part or one layer of the ecosystem, part of the rainforest gets a little weak, that we will start to see other layers being affected because of this very intricate dance that's going on between all the living mechanisms, the biodiversity of this rainforest. So, like when we step into the rainforest and we start to be curious about what's going on inside of ourselves, and I'm going to use the word courageous. I am a firm believer that so many of the women who have come to me, they're incredibly courageous, because to step into Chinese medicine and acupuncture, trust me, to improve, suggest, guide, takes a lot of courage. And women, we're darn courageous. So if you're listening to this video, you're courageous. So you're willing to step in and listen to your own body, be true to yourself, like what needs to be changed, what might need to be shifted. And if you are stepping into like parts of yourself that you like, oh man, like my diet's really crappy, this might be the time to tighten it up. And you feel that resistance, to be able to go into it gently and push up against it, right? Because in those areas is where we can gain the most momentum. So when we're standing and looking in the rainforest, we start to see the potential of maybe what we can implement to help ourselves. And I want to note here that the other incredibly beautiful part of this is that each woman has a different type of rainforest. And you may have already had this experience. You read on the internet, you read in a chat group that somebody who's got the same FSH and the same age, like very similar circumstances to yourself, she took ABC supplement and it completely changed her fertility. And so you try taking that supplement and nothing changes. And partly the reason is because every woman has a different type of rainforest. And when we're looking at perimeters of like FSH or age, we're looking at the most superficial part of the rainforest. We're at the treetops. And if we're at the treetops, it's very hard to see the layers that go on down below us. So at the tops of the trees, you share a lot of commonality with another woman. Yet we can't see what's going deeper with that other woman. And my firm belief is that biodiversity that's invisible is how we differ from person to person. And that beautiful dance that goes inside the rainforest is very different for each woman. When we're thinking about the rainforest, your rainforest, and we're thinking of it as individuality, when we are starting to explore who you are and what you want and how you want things to look and what's out of alignment with yourself, this is where you can figure out how to implement different things, supplements, lifestyle patterns, work patterns, like what's true to you and what's true to your rainforest, right? One woman may need to put more fertilizer under the fruit tree to grow fruit so the monkeys have more to eat, where another woman might need to have a very heavy vine cut down because it's strangling one of the main trees in the rainforest. This is the key to figuring out what's best for you. Not so much of what's best for everybody, including myself, but more about what's best for me and my fertility. And as you start exploring all these layers, right, the more that you can dig into the different layers and explore those different avenues, you can start to pull together the biodiversity of your rainforest. And I use an example. One of the most common things I see is sleep, or thus the lack of. And how does that affect your fertility? So if you're not getting enough sleep, not getting enough good quality sleep, and you're tired all the time, it means you have to push yourself harder to go to work. Maybe it means you're less motivated to go and take a walk every day. So how is maybe something that's such a key for our well-being is influencing the other layers in the rainforest? As you start to ask yourself more questions, you're going to be able to potentially figure out how you can increase the biodiversity and support the parts that might need extra encouragement to improve your fertility. Since every woman is a different biodiversity, a different rainforest in her body, this leads a women to a lot of frustration about what do I need from me then? And one of the common things I see is taking on too much or taking too many supplements, doing things that push your own body and well being into a place that's not necessarily um, productive for your fertility. So we have to keep in mind that there is a part of this that's all a mystery, right? There's people like myself who we've become experts at trying to explore all the mystery of your rainforest, try to explain and connect how we can rule things in and rule things out as we're going through the treatment process. If you're going alone in this, you would want to be cautious of frustration. So this is what often happens, is that I see clients biting off more than they can chew, and then they get incredibly frustrated. How many more supplements can I take? I hate exercise. Like, why do I have to force myself to exercise? Like, when you start to lean into more frustration um, and irritability, you know you've gone too far. So you want to pull back. And I always keep saying to my clients, keep it simple. Small changes are often the best action. Little measurable changes that you can see will add and gain momentum. Uh, and to remember to be kind to yourself. That biodiversity uh, can be changed and shifted, and that we are human beings and we're not perfect. So if you catch yourself taking 20 supplements in the morning, you're doing some kind of, I'm going to make it up, supplement regime, and you're like, if I have to swallow another pill, I'm just going to like bang my head against the wall. Be like, okay, I'm a human being. I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I am going to take a breather and just sort of sit with myself and make sure that this is really helping my biodiversity. It's really helping me. And that I can be empowered by taking small changes to improve my egg quality. And I'm going to talk about the biodiversity through the lens of Chinese medicine. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the layers that I see when I treat clients. And maybe it will help you, figure out something for yourself. It may help you understand what's going on in your acupuncture sessions. If you have any thoughts on this, any questions, please post. Love to have a conversation with the ladies out in the bigger world. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.